Harkin.
Thank you, Can Corla. And first of all, can I thank the regional group for bringing forward this really important and very timely motion. And I also want to strongly exhort the government to put in place structures that will ensure the long-term viability of the post office network. For over 30 years, I've been involved in community development and politics. And at no time in that 30 years has the issue of the closure of post offices and campaigns to save them been off the agenda. Sometimes these campaigns succeeded, sometimes they didn't. And sometimes a few years later, the threat of closure arose again, despite the earlier reprieve. So that's why we need to ensure that post offices can remain viable and that opportunities for further and enhanced provision of services are put in place. But viability is the key issue, and the sticking plaster solutions of keeping the odd post office branch open for a few years is simply not working and won't work long term. Now, I don't need to emphasise the value of the post office network from an economic and social perspective, but I want to acknowledge that when we use the word lifeline to describe a post office, in many cases that is not an exaggeration. And furthermore, Minister, with the current move to work from home and move to towns and villages and rural areas across the country, then the onus is on government to ensure the availability of local services. Now, the Irish Postmasters Union has produced an excellent report undertaken by Grant Thornton. It's crystal clear that in 2021 there will be a 17 million shortfall in revenue, or to break it down, each post office across the state will have losses of approximately €19,000 per annum. This tells us the extreme urgency of the situation and, as I said earlier, the timeliness of this motion. Now, the Irish Postmasters Union is requesting that An Post be the sole provider of the bank accounts that are required to facilitate the Department of Social Protection strategy to move to e-payments. They also ask that all government's departments channel business through the post office, motor tax drivers, licence, etc. And finally, Minister, we are sometimes told that the EU Public Procurement Directive will not allow any interference in the tendering process. But governments can and must use the flexibility contained within that directive to help ensure that both the social and economic value system is embedded in the tender process.